Hey guys, what's up? It's Sisn't here. Now, I purposefully went into this video with little preparation so that it's a little bit off the cuff, but as a result, I don't have a script of what to say in the intro, so you'll just have to deal with this. This is going to be a little bit of an exercise in navel gazing, so I do apologize for the fact that it's going to be a little bit, self-indulgent on my part, but I'm going to do a year in review video because what a year! Where to even start? At the start of the year, I suppose. Back in the start of the year when things were bright and hopeful and I made such absolutely foolish statements as I might get the Manticore armor ready for Ironfest. Spoiler alert, Ironfest didn't happen, and neither too did the Manticore armor. So I suppose to address the elephant in the room, no, I didn't get it done nearly in time. But I feel like this year for me has been one where I've learned that productivity is not inherently virtuous and that I need to take care of myself. Surprise, it's a global pandemic and my mental health was flagging for a little bit. So the pace of work that I had going in January and February, I basically just dropped completely. I did absolutely nothing in April. And as a result, my output was a lot more moderately paced and was just generally a lot lower than what it had been at the end of 2019 and start of 2020. But that's fine, that's okay. Now then. Let's sip the tea. Is it sip the tea? I'm not young enough to know what the turn of phrase is. It was spill the tea. Now then, it's time to spill the tea. I suppose I'll just go through the videos that I put out this year. The first one that came out in January was the how to make a duct tape mannequin video. And I've got my issues with Torso-y, as he's affectionately known here, but I mean, you can see him sitting there in the corner. He's hard-working, you know, he's never taken a day off. He's currently holding up the Ursine armor. It wound up being less useful for me for sort of draping and patterning and all that sort of thing, in part because I'm just bad at draping and patterning. That's definitely something that I could stand to learn more, but it's fine. Works really well as an armor stand, and I needed somewhere to put this thing, so that's I hope you enjoy the interesting backdrop. You're welcome. And then there are sort of a few more videos about the Manticore armor. I put out a few vlogs that weren't really all that well received, but here's the thing, is that I feel like it's only my last 6 videos where I've actually known what the hell I'm doing making a video. Seriously, don't go back and watch. Don't go back and watch the early ones. They suck. The braces video, all of the vlogs, the 2-part jerkin video that just runs a ridiculous runtime. I'm sure that if I went to it now with some secateurs, I could clip it down into something reasonable. And what is ambitiously called a coin pouch tutorial. I feel like I don't really have a place telling people that I'm making tutorials, and so I have tried to stay away from that, except for the coin pouch tutorial, which was explicitly a tutorial, and honestly, that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. The video didn't perform all that well, which is, you know, you get that. So, vlogs and other unrelated things aside, let's go through the stuff that I actually made this year. And the first one was the Manticore braces. I'm still really happy with these. They're still incredibly stiff. There's squeaking, obviously, that you can hear from the buckles, but I'm very, very happy with how these turned out. So this was a fairly simple project, very simple pattern, just cut out of some thick leather, wet formed and dyed. Really not that involved, but good result. And the item that I made after the braces was, of course, the jerkin. Now, the reason that I made the jerkin next is because what I had been working on was the gloves, and I was still planning to take this to Ironfest, and, well, the gloves were less valuable. The gloves were of lower importance to the glance value of the cosplay. The jerkin is key. I could show up there with the jerkin and a pair of bought gloves just pulled up over the top of the braces, and it would be totally fine. Only people who were really big fans of the game would even notice. But if I didn't have the jerkin, then really the whole thing falls apart, because that's the most iconic piece of the Manticore armor. And honestly, I mean, the jerkin turned out pretty well. It's very comfortable to wear. There's a lot of sort of structure and support in the shoulders so that it keeps its shape. I've got these nice little puffy sleeve bits. Honestly, incredibly, utterly thrilled with how well this turned out, considering that I had no fucking idea what I was doing. I really didn't know what I was doing with this. This was a lot of firsts for me. This was the first time that I actually worked with the goat hide. This was my first time lining a garment. It has linen lining. It has a little breast pocket on it. This is my first time doing French seams. For those of you who sew a French seam in leather, is this that's running down the side of it. We call it something completely different in leatherworking. I don't know why, but purely because you thought you knew what it was, we've decided to confuse it for you. Sorry about that. The thing that I don't like is the color of thread. Again, I erred too far to the side of white. This is sort of a bleached linen. And this should have been butterscotch, but it is what it is. I'll have to fix it up somehow. I'm thinking that I'll just put some dye on it because it's only wax thread and it should take alcohol-based dye pretty well without spoiling the colour of the jerkin. So this will happen in weathering, which will take place at some point, I don't know. And the other failure in the construction was the front of this little chest piece, which there'll be a close-up of on screen. These stitch lines are prescribed by the line in the front. I started at the back and worked my way around, and so these are slightly ajar. These are slightly off kilter, and you can see that the spacing here is wrong. But honestly, if I hadn't told you that, would you have noticed? I'm really thrilled with this. Like I said, don't go back and watch the jerkin video. They're terrible. They're really bad. They're nigh unwatchable. Unless you're like super interested in the leatherworking, they're very badly paced. They're very badly put together. The clips aren't color balanced. Like, it's not my finest work. Next up are the belts. This bandolier is still something I'm incredibly proud of. To tell the truth, it needs a little bit of work. I demonstrated in the video where I made it that you can hold it down and not have the bottles fall out, but currently one of them does. So I'm going to need to just get a very thin something in here to make the interference fit a little bit tighter, but that's fine. That's an easy fix. I'm super thrilled with how the bandolier turned out. I should have burnished all of these edges, but I didn't. The tooling on the sword belt I'm exceptionally happy with. I'm so thrilled. I'm really happy that I went on Fiverr and got someone who is actually skilled in graphic design to make this pattern for me, because I could have altered an existing pattern, but honestly, I don't have the tools or the skill set necessary to do that, so supporting local artists, right? Well, they weren't local. I think that they were Russian. The pants. I think that the pants is the first good video that I made where the word good doesn't need a qualifier with it. And if you've been thinking to yourself, boy golly gee, I sure do wish that I knew what Sisson's butt looked like, you should go and watch that video, because these are tight. I'm really happy with how they've come out. It was my first time using a whip stitch to secure down the waistband. First time sort of doing anything to this extent of the quilting on the leather. The jerkin was different because reasons. Anyway, if you really want to know the difficulty with the patterning on these, go and watch the video. And if you want to know the difficulty that I had getting the dye on these leather sides, go and watch the video, because God, I was an idiot. So that was a huge learning from these pants, is that I feel like my process for coloring leather has really improved as a result of the hurdles that I faced with these pants. So in addition to being a video that I'm really proud of, I'm really proud of the learning that I took from it, you know? There are tiny little nits that I can pick with these, but for now, let's just say that I'm very proud of them, and they fit me snugly. And then I did a one-day build. This was stupid fun. I really liked making this knife sheath, and I want to make more of them in the future. I'm really happy with this. Listen. Really happy with this. Really happy with how the video turned out. It was a lot of fun to do a one-day build, and it was an incredible amount of fun realizing at about 11 o'clock at night that it was going to run into 2 days because of the way that I approached it. But it is what it is, and look, honestly, I'm so happy with the patina that I got on it. The color is delicious. The next video that I made was showing off my Ursine armor as part of the Oceanic Esports Cosplay Cup that I entered. And I'm just going to casually name drop that one and no others. But that was good. That was really good for me, I think. I totally fall on the community side of the community versus competition argument, right? But it was just fun having an event. And honestly, good on you, Oceanic Esports, for running an event during COVID that we could all take part in remotely. I can't believe that I made it to the final 12. I didn't take home any prizes, but goddamn. I'll link the VOD down in the description so that you can go and look at the other finalists and the people who are actually deserving of the titles, because they were absolutely phenomenal. The foam smithing, the giant builds, there were like Space Marines, full-size Space Marines. It was a lot, like electronics, the whole works. So I'm very flattered to have made it into the final 12 because I was standing amongst such absolute giants of competitors. So that was a lot of fun. And then we're coming up to the last cosplay video that I uploaded, which was the leather gloves. And these were, perhaps unsurprisingly, my most popular video yet. Look, I get it. I'm impressed by them as well. I don't know why that video went so gangbusters. I think that leather gloves is just sort of a popular search term, but the algorithm still eludes me. Like, I feel so accomplished having made these. I did a progress vlog about these gloves back in 2019, and I shelved them for 9 months because I was just getting frustrated with the pattern. I was getting frustrated with the material. I couldn't quite make it work. Listen to this. Yeah, that's good. I can't tell you how happy I am with these. They're so supple. They move incredibly well. They creak when you grip, which is like, obviously that's what you want. Was I perhaps a mite too stubborn in wanting to have them be exactly as they're shown in the game rather than something practical? Yeah, look, I'm willing to wear that. I was really stubborn and that was dumb of me. But did I, through that stubbornness, create something that I'm very proud of, that I don't think, as far as I can tell, most people don't make gloves like these. So this is sort of something special that I've made. And I feel really happy about that. I feel really proud that I went through the process of making my own pattern and going through all of the prototypes. Because look, mock-ups and me don't traditionally mix very well, and I don't always do. Even when I do a mock-up, I don't do it properly. But these, I went through the process, I did the pattern, I did the mock-up, and I was rewarded. So who knows, maybe I should do more mock-ups. The next few videos that I made were not costume related. They were just me making stuff. They were me making the sheaths for my round knives and some coasters. So what did I think of those? I'm really happy with how the videos came out, especially the ASMR. That was just a fun little bit of content to push out. That was very easy to make, and people seemed to like it. And I had requests in the comments from people asking for just 20 minutes of leather crafting noises, and never let it be said that I am above taking suggestions. So that was a lot of fun. The round knife sheaths as well, they've worn in really nicely. I'm very happy with them. I fucking love using these knives. They're so, if I say tactile, is that a little bit, well, duh, grant they're knives, but they're so good to use. If I had to make these sheaths again, would I do it differently? Yeah, I would. Some of the stitching, especially along the back of the crescent knife, is a little bit, but along the front of it is very neat and tidy. And that's mostly what you see when it is hanging up on the wall. I just really enjoyed the opportunity to do a little bit of tooling and get a little bit more creative, I guess. Now then, other stuff that I've made that isn't yet in a video. Now, if you don't follow me on Instagram, hint. Did I really just do that? You won't have seen this. Now, this is, of course, the bag that hangs from one of the belts, but goddamn if I don't feel like turning this pattern just into a shoulder bag that one might wear. So, you know, let me know if I should start an Etsy shop. I'm stupid happy with this. These are some corners and some decorations from bookbinding supplies and for sort of making leather boxes and that sort of thing. It's very nice. I even signed the inside of it. This was a non-trivial geometric operation for me to understand, but it's not the most exciting thing that I've made, but I am very happy with the finish. I love the patina. I love the mottled color. I love the shiny finishes. One thing that I learned in 2020 that I am proud of is how to make a decent YouTube video, because I feel like for the first good portion of the year, I just didn't know. And look, honestly, that's on me. There's a lot of examples of how to do it right that I wasn't paying any attention to, and I did, and I feel like the first video that shows the fruits of that particular labor is the trousers video, which I'm extremely happy with and was one of my best performing videos for a very long time. So the proof of the pudding being in the eating, it worked. Who knew, right? Apart from every YouTuber. One thing that I've really accomplished that is completely and utterly unrelated to making is taking better care of myself. This was a shit year, and you don't need me to tell you that, but for me this was a year with an incredible amount of silver linings, and I think that through this year I have found a balance that works for me. This year led to a lot of introspection, a lot of questioning why I was doing the things that I was doing, and that's good. That's healthy. You should be doing that if you're not already. Am I totally happy and satisfied with my life now? No, of course not. I mean, I don't think that I ever will be. But this year had a lot of silver lining, and I would have been a fool not to use the privileged position in which I find myself to utilize that silver lining. God, I really just took my time searching for words there. It's fine, editing Grant will clean it up. So looking forwards into 2021, one thing that I would like to learn, I'd like to spend more time with fabric. I look back at the shirt that I made in 2019 and I cringe pretty hard because I didn't make it well. I think that there are still seams that are just left unfinished in it, but whatever, it's linen, she'll be right. She won't be right. Linen relishes in ruining your day by unraveling. I'd like to get better at actually making garments out of fabric that people wear. And that's something that I'd like to accomplish next year. I'd like to start making my own clothes that I actually wear day to day, because the more that I learn about how the clothes that I wear get made, the less that I like it and the less that I want to replace them by buying more clothes from those places. And I know that I'm super late to the party on that, but this is my channel, so you can't be mean to me in the comments. What was something that I thought would be difficult, but it was easier than I thought it would be? The gloves! Absolutely the gloves. Are you kidding me? I put that off for so long. I put them off for nearly a year because I just thought it would be impossible to progress. Progress? Are they a different word depending on how you pronounce it? We'll look that up later. I just thought that it would be impossible to get anywhere from the point that I was at. And then I started doing it. I just shut up and made it, and I figured it out, and it worked. And it was a pain, absolutely. It's a pain, and it's fiddly, and none of the lines are straight, and there's a lot of geometry that happens that I had to get my head around. But once I started making them, the next step became illuminated. And if I can offer you any words of encouragement, if I can offer you, dear viewer, one mode of thinking to take away from this, it's that you don't need to know how to do the whole thing. You don't. You really don't. Adam Savage has said it on his channel as well, our Lord and Savior, and it's totally true. There's a reason that the idiom exists. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. I didn't know how to finish the gloves when I started stitching them together, but all you need to know how to do is the next step. I knew the next thing that needed to be done. So I knew, okay, I need to stitch around the fingers. What comes after that? I don't know, but once I stitch around the fingers, then I survey the lay of the land again and I say, oh, okay, these need to be stitched at the webbing. And it can be frustrating not knowing what the end step is, not knowing what the final step is going to be, but you don't need to. If you've got that project that is your dream project that you think, once I know how to do the thing, this is what I'm gonna make, start making it seriously. The absolute worst thing that can happen is that you come up to a step that you don't know how to do. Well, congratulations, you know what the step is, you just need to learn it. And look, I know, nothing's that easy. Nothing is that easy. I get it. But my point is, all that you need to know how to do is the very next step. The second step, you can learn that when you finish the one that's in front of you. And that is totally a valid way to finish a project. And I feel like that was one big takeaway from 2020 for me. That was a lesson that I was taught this year, and honestly, super happy that I learned it. Something that was harder than I thought it would be, making videos. That's just because I was making them shittily at the start, just smashing a bunch of clips together and going, oh, what music should I put over this? That goes right there. And I don't want to say that I'm good. I don't want to say that the videos that currently exist on my channel are great examples of how to have a YouTube channel about making. Like, I don't want to say that this is a good maker's channel by any stretch. I've still got a ways to go, and I can see that. But if you look back at my early videos, Jesus Christ, my dude. Oh, oof. Yikes. Oof, ouch, owie. They were bad. They were not good at all. Seems like a really negative note to end on, but I mean, look, the process of making the videos turned out to be harder than what I was doing and what I was giving it credit for. And when I started actually paying attention and doing it properly, there's no proper way to do anything, but here we are. The quality had a noticeable uptick, and I'm way happier. I'm way more proud to show off the content that I have made now, and that is what's more worthwhile for me. So 2021, what does it hold for me? What does it hold for the channel? channel, what does it hold for us? It means that next year is probably going to continue being sporadic uploads without any real schedule, where I upload a video once I've made a thing and I'm proud of the thing that I've made. And honestly, that is good. That's a good thing. I'm glad that I'm in the headspace where I'm able to do that. Now, obviously, this was just a rundown of the channel, which currently has 200 odd subscribers, which means that, you know, you're in a very exclusive club. This is just kind of like our thing. This is rarefied. Congratulations to you. I didn't really think up a way to end this video apart from to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being curious enough as to what has gone on in this channel over this past year. And if you have been a viewer that's stuck around, thanks for sticking around. I'm glad that you're interested in the stuff that I make because, look, I think that it's interesting. Definitely, I'm interested in the stuff that I make, so it's always nice to have the external validation. What else is there to say apart from you guys take it easy, and I'll catch you next time.